led to evil. And my channel is geared towards inspiration to you. Inspire means to lift you up, right? In any respect of our lives, it's inspiration, taking you up, onwards, upwards, forwards. Do like the channel and do subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so you led to evil, are you? I don't know if you ever watched shows on fly fishing, right? Fly fishing, where the fisherman, and he's, of course, he's an expert, right? But he throws a line as far out as the line will go, not close to the shore, but farther out, right? And the better fish is out from the range of where he is, and they are the bigger fish, the more that they're in the deeper waters, not the shallow, the deeper waters, right? And his bait, his bait has been constructed so well that the fish way beneath down there looks up and either sees food, okay, or is baited, okay, into following the fly, right? So it's a bit of a game that the fly fisherman will play. And he says you just got to stand back and just relax. Let the motion of the everything that I'm using here do its work. Every piece does its work. We're talking about the rod, the line, the bait, the fly, the way the contraption is set up on the bait. And then just to put a little bit of food on it, right? All of it has its place, right? The fisherman who is meant to take you and to want to capture you is Satan. His name, the devil, Satan means adversary. So he's not your friend. The line will be mostly his communication throughout life. Okay? The people whom he's flowed like a snake, able to freely move through the means of deception, family lines, bloodlines, generational compromises, where generations don't really have really put a greater emphasis on the goodness of God, the ways of the Lord. They're more given to backbiting, unforgiveness, bitterness, and of course it's passed on from the mother and the father, and they just basically carry on the cycle and so on and so forth, right? They will in every respect, and don't ever lie to yourself about this. They're going to try their best to replicate the environment because that's the environment they came from. There's a certain level of stupidity behind all of it, but stupid people create more stupid problems. That's their world. They are extremely stupid because they don't realize at the end of their personal life, they're going to be damned. And what they create in the process is a generation and a future generation of damned people. That's why in their conversations say God damn and all these other things, because they're speaking a language of where they're going, right? Their condition, whatever where they're at. In you being baited, the more deep you go in your life, and when I'm talking about deep, I'm talking about really where your heart is not shallow. You've actually allowed God to impress upon you in the generational evil. And God was able to finally communicate to somebody in the generation. And what happens to you is that you really become chosen. Because God has found a voice, He's found a person, and He knows the little bit of stuff that He gives you, He can increase like a seed. One seed He can plant in you, and you will grow into a mighty oak tree of God. Okay? So God knows all this, right? And he knows the kind of people he's going to use and work with and will be with. That's beauty, man. That's beauty. And, if you are one of those people, I can say confidently, I've seen God do things in my life. I can say God is with me. If you say that, you are greatly blessed. And it's not a coincidence. It's not some kind of a haphazard choice. It is a forever choice. God has forever chosen you. This is not a momentary thing. Wait for you to mess up. No, he's basically committed to himself to you. Okay. In the process of doing so, you're going to have a lot of things in the generational cycles that's going to be extremely angry at you. And they're mostly going to be demonic spirits because every single family has them. And being led to evil is a lot of respects that you're either going to find yourself with your weak points because of where you came from. Whilst God has been busy doing his work in you, he hasn't fully done his work. So those weak areas are still open for discussion between you and the devil and God. Now, dependent upon the commitment that you've made to God, it has to go deeper than that. The nibble of the fish that is in the deep depths of water, they're more bigger, the more stronger, they are more healthier fishes. That's you as a human being, right? In the sea of life, right? Because you're so rich, the fisherman, the catcher, has got to use the line, which is the things that you're easily communicated to, the compromises in your life. The bait can be your Achilles heel. If you're a man, and every man has this weakness, a woman, all right? Same with you women. If you have the weakness of wanting to find a good man, especially not a man that's going to represent somebody you came from, let's say if your father was not a good man, or what you remember, you want to, no. You know what? My values have changed. I desire someone who's going to match this because you start to learn value. You learn, hey, I got value on me here, right? You're not going to settle for less. The fisherman is going to make sure you will. The only way he could pull you back to the shore, and catch you and display you, okay, he's got to get you outside the element of God. That's a deep sea. He's got to pull you. Once he fishes you and he begins to pull you along the water, you will struggle and you will lose some of your heavenly breath, where you've learned to breathe in the depths of God. You will come back up, or I should say, go back down into the mire of the devil's world and his air. And as you struggle, as he reels you in, not a whole fast enough so he can lose you, he does it slowly in a very professional way. As he's bringing you along, because the hook has got into you, okay, he can bring you along. Now, he hasn't finished his fishiness yet because so much can happen in all of your struggle that you can easily wiggle your way out of the hook, okay? Once he gets you to a certain point, he can now bring you in, and he has a choice. He can take you and smash you against a stone and kill you right away, okay? Or he can, some of the most cruelest things I see is when fishermen will watch the fish as they hold it up and they're kind of laughing. They watch this fish suffer. That is one of the most horrific things of being led to evil. That the fisher, the devil, through his children, It's called. You ever to turn a lifeline when one person joins to the next? He'll use all these different people to come into your path. And one of the mistakes that people make who get led back to evil, they get way too overconfident about their position in their life as being whole or being made whole, that they don't realize that they can easily be caught. That's why the Bible says we ought to be sober, totally wide awake, not moved about by something that's going to change our position, how we feel. Um, and he says, and be vigilant, which means you have to really be like disciplined. For the devil roams about like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. And it's interesting about the roar of a lion is that he roars to frighten his prey. The communication of the devil comes in so many different ways, but it does not have the voice of God, who is a shepherd. Jesus, that's what he says, I'm the good shepherd. His roar a lot of times gets people, especially if they have the weakness in them, to seeking out validation and seeking out their worth and some kind of attention from people who are on the outside. They will listen to that roar the way all of those people have been doing all their life. His roar is to gather. His roar is to establish he's the king of the jungle, right? If you know God well enough, you have to, and I say this with all conviction because I'm still learning this. Jesus says, I am the Lord. To say Jesus is Lord, you have to know that Jesus is your God. You have to really, really establish this, that you're not going to bow down to anybody or anything that does not reveal or show any signs of the ways of Christ. God has so many things established in his ways in the natural world, in the air that we don't see, through the ways of kindness and meekness and gentleness and faithfulness, self-control, discipline, but also, higher than that, reading through his word and seeing the correction of what happened to people who strayed from God. And people who strayed and were brought back to his mercies, but still had it tough on the way back. People who had to go through tough things because they made the big mistakes of opening up their mouths to the wrong people. And they ended up losing years of their life because of it. And God still brought them and put them back in where he wanted them to be. But they went through a vicious, horrible time because they told the wrong people. So the way to not get snared in this life and not be led to evil is you have to establish in your heart that it is a very real phenomenon. Evil is very real. It is not something to take lightly about. You can meet people that you can have certain connections with, and you could be so confident about them, and they show clear and concise signs that they're evil. And though they may not right away harm you, they will eventually, because they are the bait of the fishermen. All they want to do is get you outside of your element, because they're damned. They're lost. So I'm just gonna leave you with that. Something sobering to think about, because you know what? You can really have some serious pain when you're led to evil. You can have some serious pain. And don't ever assume that God will say, oh, it's okay and everything. Oh, no. You may very well have wasted God's time. You may well have wasted years where you could have been highly productive. And don't let nostalgia, nicey feelings, and all these other things play a role. People show signs that are evil, and you're better than that. It's walk away. All right. Thank you.